Alright, so I don't know if I'm going to post this video or not, but I need to make a video so that if I actually get this thing working, I can put it back together again. Here it is. So I'm going to take these two screws off just to see what's under this cover. I really need to get this guy off. I see two screws here. I got this unplugged. I saw another screw in the back, but let's get some good camera shots of this so like I said, so I can put this thing back together if I get it working. Alright, so I took those two screws out. This thing came out. The screws are made by, felt like they're made out of aluminum. They're really cheap. Oh, that's the wheel down there. But it looks like some wires are going to this. So I think what I'm going to do is take these two. This one looks like, I can't see what wires are going to it. Looks like I'm going to take this wire off next. And then there's a screw right there I'm going to take off to release this cable. Hopefully this will come out a little bit there. I'll pick it up after that. Okay, a little bit more updating for myself. I put the screws back in here. This grounding wire goes on the right and it looks like it goes up into that black box there. And then this one goes on that left screw. And I think it goes to the front of this black box. And then I just put the screws for this back here. These screws are like the weakest aluminum screws I've ever come across. It almost feels like they're made out of lead, they're so soft. Anyways, oh, and I disconnected this little piece down here, this little nub thing went into that little square hole there, and then the screw goes in the top, holds that down. So let's see if this releases this or not here. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this out and I'll pick it up after I figure out how this comes off. Okay, so there's a little, took the screw out of here, and back there. I just put them down here. I'm gonna probably put them back, but they're too long and they're actually metal screws finally. They're really cheap still, but they went into the two plastic ones, the two long ones. The little short one went back there, kind of that star looking thing there. And then this cover was on there and I gently just wiggled it and it came off. And so that's where I'm at. I'm thinking behind here is there should be some compressor relays. And there's just noticing it looks like, excuse me, it looks like there might be a capacitor back there. So I gotta be careful of that so I don't shock myself. But I'm not 100% sure that's a capacitor, but it looks like one to me. And let's see, where is it? So it looks like this box. I bet you if I were to open it up, which I don't know how to open it up, it looks like this is the main power, because the gray cord goes into here, then turns around and goes in there. So I think this just probably pins out in here, and there's some wires that go up in there. And that thing that might be a capacitor back there looks like it does go into this box, which would make sense. I don't know how to get this box off though, so that's what I'm kind of struggling. It looks like there's a tab on the top, but I don't know if it does anything. So anyways, let's pick it up after I figure out what to do next. Okay, there were some like hieroglyphics on this side here, and it made it look like, I couldn't tell what it is. It's really bad hieroglyphics. And it made it look like it literally was hieroglyphics, just arrows and numbers. And it made it look like you took that screw out, which I did. Then it was really weird looking. I'll try to get a picture of it later on. Then it looked like it said to tilt it. It said tilt it upwards, but it made it look like the top there. But so I swung this out and then pulled the whole thing out. And that seemed to get this cover off. I don't have it all the way off, but I thought I'd note that. So if I put it on, I'm assuming I have to put the bottom back in first and then slap the top in. We'll see when I get it all the way out. Okay, it looks like that's how you get that cover off. I can see, I don't know if I can get a shot of it, down in the compressor, oops, I can see the prongs, and that's what it's after, is I want to test those prongs out. I think that grounding strap up there goes to this wire down here. I'll check that with my meter. Probably disconnect it there's a red lead in there that I don't know what it goes to. Let's see. It must go into the power supply box. And still don't know how that capacitor is getting in there, so I'm trying to be safe because that's going to hurt if I get zapped by that. But I'm getting really close to being able to get at the compressor. I'm afraid I don't want to break any of these copper pipes. It'd be really nice if I could just unscrew it, but that's not going to work. Wish there was a little bit more room to work in here, but getting close. At least now I see how I can get to the cover there, or to the compressor prongs. And it looks like there's probably some kind of switch attached to them, and I think I remember seeing some refrigerators and stuff have that on there. So anyways, just updating. See if we can get a shot of that clip down there. So down in there, right there, it's not a very good shot of it, I can't quite see it, but that plug just plugs onto those prongs down there. Yeah, it's terrible video, sorry. Again, this is mostly for me so I can put this thing back together. Okay, a little update about what I've been working on there. See those 3 pins there. The top one makes a triangle top one and 2 bottom ones. Oh, and I put that screw back there that had that grounding strap that was coming from that case right there. I put it back there and disconnect it so I can get this out of the way easier. I believe the 8 on there means it's an 8 farad, probably microfarad. I'll check that out. But I tested this guy out and I found this sticker here. And see right there, if it'll focus, is that triangle there. And essentially the way it worked was I tested from the top to the left side, and I got like an ohm reading of 5, and then from the top to the right side ohm reading of like 7, and then from the bottom to it came out to be 12, and that's how it should be. And I believe and I probably have the whichever one is lower reading, I don't remember, it wasn't quite that important at this point. But that's how it is. Your lower reading should be your run capacitor, and the higher the leg is your let's see, what's it called, the start capacitor, and start winding. And then if you read across both, it kind of goes up and around, and that gets you a total. So that's how it should behave. So that tells me at least the windings are in fairly good condition in the compressor. It doesn't mean it's running because there's a little piston in there, it needs to be going. But what I'm going to test out next is I need to test out 3 things. I need to test out the capacitance of the capacitor, and there should be a relay in here, and I'll check that relay. And then this white thing that was up on top, the top 2 pins, and it has a red lead going to it, that should be a thermal, like, safety cutoff thing. If the compressor gets too hot, it should open up, if my understanding is correct. So I'll need to test that. So that's where I'm at. Again, this is mostly for me, and I'll make more updates as I figure stuff out. Okay, I pulled pulling on this case to get it out of the way so I could work a little easier, and it came off, which is really awesome. Here's that hieroglyphics I was talking about earlier. Like crazy trying to figure out how it worked. Anyways, so I got it upside down. You can see it's got like a 3-step process. 1 that says take out a screw. 2, oh, it says to put a screwdriver. You can't read this because it's like this in here, and it's black on black. But I think they're saying I was supposed to put a screwdriver and pry up on it, and then pull down, and then twist out. Anyways, I figured out how to get it out. Yeah, you're looking at it like this when it's installed. Oop. Yeah. Anyhow, once I got that out of the way, then I can see all these components really easy. So I test the resistance from here to here, and this just goes to the top pin on the top, and again it kind of sits like this against the compressor, and you know, it would open if it was when it gets warm, and it's closed now, so that's good. I checked out this ground wire. This wire is just taped on here. This is the same wire. Then this is the relay, and the way they got this is they got the neutral wire goes to one leg, and then capacitors the other two leg. And this, since it goes on the top, this is the hot wire, and they made it red instead of black, which is okay. So I just pulled one of the legs of the capacitor to test this out, and I just put my meter on capacitance and checked this, and sure enough it comes out to be 8. So that is an 8 microfarad capacitor back there, and had continuity from this pin to this wire, so that means this is closed, so that's good. And just got to figure out how to test out the relay. But now I need to put this, the reason why I disconnected this, I was worried that there would be some coils in there and it might take too long to charge up the capacitor to see the capacitance. So I disconnected one leg, so just test it across here. Now I'm going to put it back on and see if I can figure out how to test this relay out. Okay, this is pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure that relay is good. I kind of probed around on it with my ohm meter, but I'm not exactly sure how it's supposed to be pinned out. But I figured I'd open up this box. I really thought this was just the power coming in, but this looks like it's the whole main board, which is really cool. Because if I have to replace it, it's really easy to get to, and hopefully that means that there's not too much going up. These are all probably just sensors going up, which would be really cool. Hopefully there's no, I thought the control board would be buried up in there somewhere, and I really thought this was just a power supply, but no, looks like it's a control board. Kind of looking over, there's probably a component bad on here. Either that or it's most, I don't see anything blown. The capacitor, let's see how that looks. Everything looks just really quick looking over it. I don't see any burnt spots. I'll give it the sniff test. If you don't know that, you just smell it, and usually you can smell burnt component if it's something blue, but I don't see any damage. This is starting to push me towards thinking that there's probably a sensor someplace else that feeds this board, that's why this refrigerator is not working. But I was really surprised. Let me see, I'll get some, so this will make it a lot easier if I gotta change this out, but I don't think the problem is here. Anyways, I was just surprised. This just clipped on, I popped it off, stuck some screwdrivers. It's got just little plastic tabs, you can figure out how to get this off. No markings on it, just telling you it's made out of plastic or something, I don't know. Anyways, that's pretty cool. So just moving along, I just need to verify that relay, and I got to figure out how to do that because I don't have any good schematics on how it's set up, but we'll take that as we come along. So I figure when I'm in here, I might as well figure out how this is wired up. So it's kind of interesting. This gray line is your power cord coming in, and they've got a white, which is neutral, a black, which is hot, and a green, which is ground. And the ground just runs out and screws to the chassis somewhere. The white actually loops out. This black lead goes out. So the white, they ran it not straight to the motherboard like you'd expected. They ran it out to this clip right there. See if we can get a shot of it. They basically ran it out to the relay right there, and then doubled it back, and it comes, so it goes out, comes in here on the gray cord, goes out on the black to that clip I just showed you, and then routes back in and then plugs into the motherboard. So that's how you're getting your neutral. So they're running the neutral in 2 spots. Then the black from the gray cord goes into the motherboard and then runs out on this red one, which is on, it's probably the same hot lead. It actually says COM on there, or comp, so that's compressor, and sure enough, that one, I'm sure if I ohmed it out, there's only one wire coming out. It looks like it goes right here to that thermal switch, and it would energize pin number 1. So that kind of makes sense there. And then, so that's all your power distribution right there, and then the capacitor is what it is. It's not playing into the motherboard at all. Then I see this, I'm calling it CN1. See if it says what it is. It says FHT. Can't quite. It has an N and an FHT. This is probably some sort of sensor. And it goes up into the fridge up there. That's that black wire. And then we've got all these deals. This is probably your control panel, the one with all the pins on it, because there's a display on the front. And then two other sensors. They all run in here and they all go up. So I bet you one's, well, I was thinking one would be the fan. Oh, I bet you this is the fan. Let me PHT, I don't know how you get fan out of that, but let me take a look at something. I'm gonna go inside, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm in the fridge. When I said I was gonna go inside, I meant inside the fridge. Anyways, that's kind of disappointing. There's a really thin black and red. I'll go back down there and see if I see that, but and it just runs the fan, which works. And then this looks like those same wires over there, which probably goes to the defrost circuit, but I'm not sure. And then it's got two thin black ones also. And so here, this is probably some kind of sensor. I need to find out what that is. It's got some kind of label on it. And looking for more sensors, which I don't. I thought they were. So on the bottom, there's a bar runs down there. Trying to see how they got it. That should be the defrost heater, and it looks like it runs in two parts and just kind of curls around down there. It's kind of weird. It has bends on the fins already. And so these probably heavier ones. I bet you this is a defroster. I don't know what these are. These probably go, I bet you they go to this, and this is some kind of sensor. I'll have to find out what that does. It's on this line here. So it's probably some kind of temperature sensor. So it very well could be something simple like this sensor's out. And it probably feeds into there. Wish I should have brought some tape so I don't have to keep clipping this in. Anyway, so that's interesting. So all those wires probably go up to here. Let me put this down and I'll show you something else. A little trick there, good old 3M blue painter's tape's your friend. I don't have to keep clipping that in to keep it from wire. Because if I don't clip it in, it wants to hang on those wires and they're real thin and I don't like that. Little trick somebody told me, put a water bottle in there when I was testing it to see if it has ever cooling down. Because then your water bottle will get cool. And I need to get a thermostat. So I bet you, here's that deal here, and I bet you a bunch of that wires goes to this to make this work. I wonder, I was trying to see if I could see how they, oops, where the wires come in for this. They probably go up here. I bet you if I could pop this cap off. I don't know how they did that. Here's the button for, my understanding that just controls the light. I don't know if it's really a door switch or not, but I don't know. Oh, this is, what is this thing? Find out what that is. Danger, risk of fire or explosion. Flammable refrigerant used. Do not use chemical devices to defrost refrigerator. Do not puncture refrigerant tubing. Yeah, the new refrigerants they use is flammable, so I guess. Oh, I bet you that's left over from the old refrigerators that used to have that metal case up here. They'd fill it full of frost, and people take a screwdriver or something, start picking at it, and they chip. So you get a leak in your system. It's probably left over from models that did that. What does this say? 2-in-1 freezer or refrigerator switch. I don't get this. Are you supposed to flip the door around or something? Exterior control panel adjust with one touch. Monitor at a glance. I don't even understand this hieroglyphics, what they're trying to. Freezer or fridge. Switch between freezer or fridge with a single click to match your storage needs. Oh, I don't think they're saying you switch anything, they're just saying, I think you turn the whole thing into a refrigerator or a freezer. Maybe that's what they're trying to say by using this control panel somehow. You're interested to see how get the wires from there to the door. Anyways, press on here. Okay, I figured I'd make one video for you. Mostly this video is for me, that's why I'm not showing how to test too much stuff, because I already know how to test it. So I found out how to test this relay out. I disconnected the capacitor lines because I don't want the capacitance interfering with the resistance reading. And you just stick the probes in this these two holes and measure. They said it should be about 5, so I just wanted to do some other leads. There we go. So stick that in there. And then come back here. I'm getting 5.3, so it should be around 5. So that's my leads are probably about 0.3. See, touch my leads together. It's hard to say, but it's got jumping around about 0.3, so it's about 5 ohms across. Stick that in there again. Yeah, so about 5 ohms for that, and that should mean that that relay is good. So the nice thing is I've tested out everything, and there appears to be no problem with the overload. At least it's initially open, or the thermal protector, I guess you call it. And so that's good. And the way you test that is you just ohm out from here to the hole there, and then tested out the relay. I just showed you how to do that. Tested out the pins on the compressor. I didn't go over that too much, but you just anyways, so that tested out good. And I tested out the capacitor, and that shows up as 8 microfarads. So all the hard stuff that usually goes bad is good, which is nice in that I don't have to fix anything, but also those are usually the easiest things to fix. So I'm certain to suspect there's a sensor somewhere that's not acting up. Be interesting to trace out these lines and find out what goes to where. I think these are kind of thick too. I think this is probably the heater element that I was showing you earlier. One of these is probably the control panel, probably the big one. The other two probably go to 2 other sensors somewhere, but I'm not sure. We'll figure that out. So I'm starting to suspect sensor inside the refrigerator somewhere. Okay, so I'm gonna actually put all this back together and press on from there.